Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Move Me Back series. Today I have with me Edwina.
Hello.
Hi. Now I was given instructions that I must come and interview
Oh
like
my
you.
gosh.
Like I have to.
Shout out to Auntie Jill.
She's like, no, you have to. No, you have to.
I know. I got the same instructions. You guys have to connect.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we were able to make it work.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So here I am.
Here you are. Welcome.
Lovely. Thank you so much. So, from my gathering, you haven't quite moved to Ghana yet.
I have not. I
Okay.
haven't. I've thought of it. I think about it often. I don't think I'm there yet, though.
Right. Okay. So, first of all, let's start. Are you Ghanaian?
I am absolutely 100% Ghanaian.
Okay.
Yes.
And so, you don't live here. Where do you live?
I live in New York, in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you're just here for holidays?
I am. I came for a 2-week vacation,
Right.
and I haven't been in 8 years. I became a mom. Then the pandemic hit, and so this is like my first time back in a long time.
Wow.
Which is awesome. Yeah.
Okay. So, even though you haven't been here for a long time, you still feel like at some point you'd like to live here?
Yeah, I do. My grandmother, who's born and raised here, came to live with us. We grew up in Malmo in Sweden. And so the culture was there. My mom was a single mom working. And so we spent a lot of time with grandma. We ate all the food. We speak fluent Ga, my brother and I, and my sister. So yeah, we've been very much entrenched in the culture. And I spent lots of summers here as a kid. So yeah, I do want to find my way back, maybe for extended periods of time to start. And then, I want my child to know that Ghana is home. It's not just a vacation place. It's our home.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what attracts you to Ghana? I know it's home, but what is the pull to make you think I would like to move to Ghana in the future as opposed to somewhere else?
I feel like I belong in Ghana, and more than, and I travel, right? So I work in international business development. I visit many countries throughout the year. And I see a lot of places and I'm like, oh, I'd love to, I could live here. This is nice. And although Sweden is where I was born and where I find comfort, Ghana just feels like I can really relax my shoulders and breathe and feel like I'm one amongst many. When I'm in Sweden, it's like, okay, yeah, you're Swedish, but where are you from? Clearly you're Black. Clearly you're African. And I think in Brooklyn, there's so many, it's a very huge Black community, so I don't necessarily feel like I have to explain myself in New York, which is what I love about it. I could just be Edwina from Brooklyn, and no one will be like, well, what country are you from? So there is comfort there, but in Ghana, it's like, this is where I'm from. This is where I'm meant to be.
Yeah. So what do you do?
I work in international business development. So I oversee 2 aspects of a fashion trade company called Informa Markets Fashion. So in one aspect, I work with government groups to secure funding for international brands to do their business in North America. And then the other side of it is I oversee the leading men's trade show in the US. So we have fashion designers that come and exhibit. They show their collections to buyers, and then the buyers purchase for their stores. So we have events in New York, Las Vegas, Nashville, Miami, and in Tokyo.
Wow, you sound like you're doing some amazing stuff.
It's fun. It definitely keeps me busy. Yeah,
okay.
It's lovely.
So if you were to move to Ghana, could you still do that here? Is that something you would still be able to do? Or would you have to start a whole new career?
I think there's a lot that can be done with the fashion community in Ghana. There's so many creatives here. There are established brands that are doing well here and outside of Ghana. I think it's more about figuring out how to bridge the gap. And then also developing an ecosystem where designers can actually produce and make goods here versus just having a creative idea and maybe doing patterns here, but then outsourcing the services, finding the fabrics in Turkey or in China. It would be great for Ghana as an industry to be able to do the full cycle within their country to strengthen the industry. But that takes resources, it takes time. But I think there's so much potential in Ghana for fashion. And Lagos, they're doing great already. So there's a West African wave that everyone's being put onto. So I get it a lot from buyers. They're like, Edwina, I know you're from Ghana. Like, what designers do you have from Ghana? Do you have any from Nigeria?
Oh my God.
So we've had a few. Yes, we've had a few. We've had a few Ghanaian designers. I'm speaking to some to show at our New York event in September. So stay tuned.
Oh,
it's happening.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Oh, so hold on. So when you came here, you actually doing some business moves as well. You're not just here for holiday.
I feel like I guess I get it from my mom. We just can't sit. When it comes to business, opportunity, networking, connecting dots, and ultimately helping others, it's hard for me to come and not figure out, like, how can I impact? What can I do? So yeah, I'm making a few connections here and there.
So how do you do that? Because perhaps maybe designers here don't necessarily know who you are and what you do. So what do you do? Do you just approach them? Do you just say, hi, I'm da-da-da, and...
Yeah, I've been asking around. So I know a few people, like Nana, who has Very Ghanaian. He has a brand that he's developing. So I had lunch with him, for example, and he kind of put me on to, like, these are the stores, like The Lot apparently is one that I have to go to. There are a lot of made in Ghana artisans and designers that sell in that store. So I usually start with just tapping in with the local community because usually they know each other in industries like fashion or beauty. It's tight knit. So it starts there, and then I do some retailing and some research, and then it kind of all comes together. But there's way more outside of the network of designers that can be tapped. I think there's just a need for resources and support with production because they're great, fantastic tailors here that could use the resources to produce in bulk and in mass to get their brand out there and really understand what does it take to get my collection into a store, whether it's like Selfridges or a mom and pop store, boutique stores. How do I get to the point where I have a product, my production is intact, my labels are good, the makeup of my product is clear, like this is silk, this is how you wash it, like all of the protocol that's necessary to expand, but also just building the industry here. Like, what's the Selfridges of Ghana? What's the Bergdorf Goodman? What's the Nordstrom? Like, how can we build a community of fashion where we don't rely on the Western world to come in and say, we want to help you build. I'd love for Ghana to get to the point where their department stores here and they're selling at Ghanaian designers.
Exactly. That would be so amazing. You know, when I first moved to Ghana, one of the things that really shocked me was that most of the cloth that you see is not even made in Ghana.
I know.
I was
the
like,
wax.
What? I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's German. It's Dutch.
Yes.
It is. And that's, I mean, that is a big part of the issue.
It's crazy though. I don't understand. Like, Africa is known for this stuff and we don't even, it's not from here.
Yeah, it's not made here.
Yeah, like the quality ones, as you say, they're like Dutch, or they're the fake ones that are made in China.
Right. Yes, made in China it's crazy. It's taking over. And it's a wake-up call because we have the resources. The design is ours. Some of the, like the Jinyami, like a lot of the, you know, the symbols and the quotes, like it's all ours, but it's being made and someone else is capitalizing on it. And I think that's, when I speak about the ecosystem, is like when can we get a factory in that has the capabilities and the resources to say, we're going to make this here. And I know bits and pieces are throughout Africa, but it's more about banding together, I think, and really building, like being intentional about making stuff here and selling it from here.
What would you say? I mean, because you seem very smart.
Thank you. I know a little something.
Where would you say that we need to start in order to make this happen? What do you think it would be the starting point for something like that, to make Ghana like the hub of fashion and produce our own stuff here?
Yeah. I mean, I'll start by saying I don't know it all, right? So I come and go. So I want to give respect to the creatives and the artisans that are Ghanaian and live here because they know the challenges. I think for me, I have to listen more than I speak about what the real challenges are here in order to provide context and information about what I think could help. But ultimately, I think there's a necessity to band together, right? So some people have the expertise of tailoring. Others know how to use the machines. Others may have funding to get the machines or access to them. And so it's more about having maybe, you know, like a board membership or a community of maybe 30 designers, decision makers in fashion that can come and say, okay, I can help with this part. I can help with the labeling. I used to work for a department store. I have this. So everyone comes with what they have. I'll come with my trade show and wholesale experience. And then we figure out, like, what are the gaps? Because now you can raise money. There's funding. With all of the investment coming in from the U.S., wanting to rebuild Ghana, I think there hasn't been a better time to say, here's what we're building. We need 10 million to start, and then we're probably going to need another 20. So raising the capital is definitely a big part of it. But then it's also the commitment. Like, once it starts, is everyone willing to stay and push through those challenges?
It's the challenges, right? Because it's easy for people to quit. And I feel like people sometimes start these things with great intentions, but actually the longevity of it is where the problem can start.
When those bumps come up on the road, that's when you have to push through. And I have a beauty line as well called Essentials by Edwina.
She's just saying it now.
I'm just dropping it. So I have the entrepreneurial side too. So I have the corporate gig, but then I also have Essentials. And launching that brand, I was just like, wow, you don't think about all the things that go into it. The marketing, there's social media, there is the labels. I wanted mine to be cruelty-free and vegan. And so the cost involved, I ended up creating a product that was not giving me any return. So I had to increase the price. But then I was like competing with the Macs of the world. And I'm like, well, who am I? And then you have to get outside of like the imposter syndrome. There's so many layers to entrepreneurship. And it's so easy to be like, you know what, I can't. Like,
that's the easiest option. I can't anymore.
This is too much. But when you get to the point where you have an industry of creatives that want to see an apparel and fashion industry in Ghana thrive, they also have to give the commitment of, you know what, when it gets hard, I'm not going to back out. We all are in this together. But it's so, I mean, look at all the spaces, the amazing real estate you have in Ghana, like factories. You actually have the space, the infrastructure is there, the creativity, the hustle. Like when I come to Ghana and I see, and drive down the street and I see all the hustlers, my mom being one of them before she moved to Sweden, I'm like, this is a nation of doers. And that's what I love about Ghana.
Full of entrepreneurial people. Everybody's doing something, which is great. Tell me about your line. What's in your line? I'm really curious.
So I couldn't find nude lipsticks for our skin tone. And I got really fed up with it. And so I was like, I want to create my own. So it's a collection of nude lipsticks. I'm wearing one of them. This one's called Ghana.
Really?
I'll give you one before you leave.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So it started off with one. It started off with one nude that was initially called Noga, and then I renamed it to Ghana, which was like a perfect nude for me. I could wear it. It was like not too heavy on the eyes, something light, but one that didn't look pasty white. It's kind of like the sunscreen issue, right? So now there's Black Girl Sunscreen. Shout out to them, where they created a formula that didn't leave dark skin with this white layer.
Film,
film. And I feel like with a lot of nude lipsticks and makeup, it was the same thing for dark skin. It's like it's not created with intention for us. And so I was like, I want to be able to grab a lipstick that I know I don't have to worry about mixing or blending, something that's purely just created for us. So it's 6 shades of nudes, ranging from the darkest to the lightest. And then I have 2 red lips. And they're all inspired by Africa. So they're all named after either a country or a city in Africa.
My God. That's amazing. Do you know what? I always say that for someone to move to Ghana, you need to be entrepreneurial. You sound to me like you are entrepreneur. I know you said you're not ready for Ghana yet. I get that. But I'm just like, to me, it sounds like you're already making the right moves. Like you could absolutely do it.
I would love to. I would love to build something here. I'd love to share what I know and help industries here. For anyone that's like, I want to do a beauty line or I want to get into fashion, like I would love to just be based here and share what I've learned and support. But yeah, I have it in me. My mom, like I said, both my mom and my dad, they're from Adabraka, they're hustlers. And when they moved to Sweden, they did not let up. My dad had a store where he sold clothing called Kulego Fashion. My mom had a beauty supply store and she was a hairdresser and did a bunch of other things on the side. So for me, there was no excuse growing up. It's like, grab that, put that there,
Yeah.
sell that, go and open the store, count the money in the register, get the stuff done for our accountant. So for me, there were no weekends hanging out with friends. It was working in the store.
Really?
Yeah.
That is the Ghana hustle.
Yes.
It really is.
Yeah.
I love that. So it's almost like even though they had left Ghana, they brought the whole culture
100%.
with them.
All of it. The food, we ate fufu, banku, komi. Ga, like I said, we speak Ga because my grandmother was like, I don't know what this Swedish thing is, but you're going to learn my language. So that's one of the things I'm the most proud of is I can come here and communicate and blend in.
I'm so happy. Honestly, I'm so happy. Like for me, my parents, when they left Ghana, they never forced me to speak the Ewe. So for me, I'm just nosy. So like I can understand it. I can hear everything you're saying, but I can't speak it. But if they had forced me to do it at home, I'd be fluent, no issue.
Absolutely. With kids, it's like we spoke 3. So obviously Swedish was the first language because we were born there. And then English kind of came along and you learn it in Sweden in school. But Ga was like, when you get home, like when you take your shoes off and enter the house, please don't speak anything else. Because they knew that the Swedish and English would come regardless. So the Ga was the focus.
Okay, so tell me this. So did you ever have friends over?
Yeah.
And you'd speak Ga?
They would be like, what are you saying? But they would also be like, so what does teoyote mean? And okay, babie, what does babie mean? And I would be like, it's come here. So some of my Swedish friends that I grew up with, they knew like little bits and pieces of Ga.
So you weren't ever embarrassed by your culture?
No, and I think that's what made us learn it so quickly is usually the hindrance with learning language is either you're going to be afraid to mess up and feel embarrassed, or you're thinking, well, if everyone else doesn't speak it, are they going to think I'm an odd or, you know, would you be embarrassed?
Yeah.
And I think that was the thing that it never, I can't think of one point in time growing up where I was like, oh no, they're going to hear me speak Ga. Or I was like, yeah, I speak Ga. Like I was proud, and then I would come to Ghana, and some of my cousins here, they only spoke English, and I'm like, how?
Isn't that weird? Isn't that? I always find that so strange when you hear Ghanaians say, "Oh, I don't speak like tree or something like that."
I don't speak any of
I'm
that.
like, you don't.
And here I am, like loud and proud, like yes, I'm just like speaking the Ga because I can, and they're just like, oh no, I just speak English, and I'm like, oh, it's such a shame, but I think the focus on English is so big because they're preparing them for either a life overseas or the educational component.
In schools here, you speak English. You don't speak the local language.
I know.
I find is like, it's so strange, isn't it?
It
like, it'd be so
is.
easy to lose the culture.
It is.
So easy.
Because there's so much of it in the language and how you express yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I found that to be, when I would spend summers here, and some of them would be like, oh, I don't, and I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You're from here.
Exactly.
And some of them speak like 3. So then you have the other side of it where they speak tree, they speak Ga, and I'm just like, wow, you speak 5 just right off the bat. Yeah.
Exactly. But I feel like with the English language, sometimes we're so restricted because for me, like I said, even though I don't speak the Ewe, there's certain words, like I'll say in Ewe, and then like someone was like, what's that mean? I'm like, I don't know how to translate it. Like there's no English word for it. You just know what a word means.
Yeah.
It just has something about it, but you can't translate it into English. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know how to tell you.
It's very rich like that. And even some of the phrases, it's the same. Like it's not a direct translation because it won't mean the same thing.
Exactly.
So you're like, you have to be there. You just have to know.
You know, you know.
Right. Yeah, no, it's a beautiful thing. But yeah, the language to me is one of the things that really makes me feel like, I'm so proud of that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm a little bit jealous.
It's okay.
So tell me about your time since you've been here on holiday. What's it been like for you being back?
It's been amazing. There's so much family. So I'm one of the people that are like, I have to visit this auntie and I have to go to this person's house. And so it takes away from like experiencing and like going to the cafes and the hotels and the clubs and the restaurants that I see on IG when I'm in New York.
Right.
So like I save them. I'm like, when I go to Ghana, I'm going to do this. When I go and then I come and I'm like, I just want to chill in the house with my aunties and get caught up on like what happened.
Yeah.
My grandmother passed 8 years ago. So we went to go and visit her yesterday, which was emotional, but also like nice for us to finally come and connect with her. But we've been able to do some fun stuff too. I've been able to go to some restaurants. We went to Labadi.
Okay.
We had some fun time with the kids. But for me, it's the food.
Yeah.
Just give me some kenke.
Do you think the food is different, like when you do it over there in the States and having it here?
Yeah, I mean, there's some pretty good Ghanaian restaurants in the Bronx. Shout out to the Bronx, because Ghana is out there. And sometimes you find things that are pretty similar.
Right.
But no, there's nothing like the food here. And just walking out and seeing it made, like we cook out here, outside the house. We have a stove and everything, but when it's time to really get down, we do it outside. And for me, it's also the experience of like my daughter Legacy, having her come and be like, Mommy, why is she pounding? And what is that? And just being a part of the experience makes the food taste so much better. Because you're like, I watched this fish getting fried. I know it's good. The shito is like fresh, and I think overseas it's like you're not getting the fresh aspect of it. It's not the same. It's not the same. And the powder fufu, I mean, I grew up on it, right, in Sweden, so I respect it, but it's not like the original.
Yeah, it's really strange because when I came to Ghana, one of the first things I noticed was that the plantain tastes so different here. I don't know what it is. But I was just like, this plantain just tastes so good. I like, bring me more. Bring me more. More. I don't know what it was, but it just tasted so different to eating it in the UK. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, is it the gas underneath the fire? But like underneath.
What is it?
Like, what is different? I don't know.
I think it's also like the organic aspect of it, the non-GMO.
Yeah.
The fact that a lot, like the eggs are they just dropped from the chicken.
Yeah, like literally, right?
Yeah. And some things to me, it's also like, ooh, that's not how it's supposed to taste.
Yeah.
Like some things to me taste too fresh or too different.
Yeah.
But ultimately, there's nothing like it. It's so good, so pure, so fresh.
So do you feel like you're inspired to move as soon as you can? Or do you feel like I want to wait like 5 years, 10 years or whatever?
I want to have a plan. I'm a planner, so I'm very strategic with everything I do. And my husband's American, so it's also like, how do we package this? Do we do extended periods of time? What does, career look like here from an entrepreneurial standpoint? I don't want it to be like a money grab. I want it to be, I want to impact. For me being Ghanaian, growing up in Europe, and then now living in the US, I want to come to Ghana and obviously make sure I can make a living, but also like, what are you giving back when you're coming back? And I think many of the Ghanaians that I know that grew up in Europe, in the Western world, wherever, we're all looking to connect, to find our place, but we're also looking to figure out, well, how can we support? What expertise do we have that's needed here to keep things going and to keep the industry thriving? And so I think once I've really figured out, like, how can I come and impact change, that's when I'm like, all right, get the bags packed. Let's head to Kotoka.
Your husband would be open to living here?
I think so. I mean, I think he's at one point he was more open than I was, because he's very like go with the flow. I think me growing up in Sweden, everything is like a system. James growing up in Long Beach, it's like he is more like, it's cool. He goes with it, he flows with it, he's able to adjust.
Nice. That's half your battle, isn't it, really?
Yeah, so I think he would be more open to coming and just figuring things out on the fly. I like to have things mapped out. So I want to know where we're living, how it looks like, design it. He's more like, we can go and figure it out when we get there. What's the big deal? So that's a big plus, because I can get very anal about what it needs to be, and we all know that in life, it's never what you plan.
Absolutely not. Like, you can plan till the cows come home, but you know what? One twist of fate, something else happens.
Changes.
But then it usually works itself out.
It always ends up being better than what you imagined.
What you planned,
And I think that's what faith is all about, is trusting the journey. And that's what I'm learning as I'm growing. And, now that I'm a mother, I'm like, Edwina, everything will not come out the way you want, the way you see it.
Exactly.
And I think once I really am able to shift that, I'll be able to be more present in life as a whole. I can be very rigid, and I think it works.
So you balance each other then? You and your husband balance each other?
We absolutely do. Yeah, he has the other side, the go with the flow, kind of like impulsive, like, oh, let's just go. And I'm like, well, we didn't make a reservation. And he's like, I'm sure we can sit at the bar until they find us a table.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
I'm more like, well, we didn't pack the sunscreen. You know, it's like I need to learn how to chill a little bit. But yeah.
Oh, no, that's nice. You balance, so that works, you know.
Yeah, it does.
So tell me, what piece of advice would you give to someone that is perhaps Ghanaian, living abroad, and hasn't really been to Ghana for like a long time and really doesn't know where to start?
Yeah.
I mean, you haven't made the move yourself yet, but what would you say, having like the fact that obviously you've come back now more recently?
Yeah.
What would you say?
I think the mindset shift is probably the most important thing, either before and when you get here, is like, let go of all the preconceived, or try your best to let go of what you think, what you've heard, what people have told you, even what you learned growing up in a Ghanaian home overseas. It's like, just come and experience it. Leave all of what you think behind, and just the first step is to come and connect. Get to know the industry, figuring out how things work, how you get around things, what protocol needs to be followed. Really just soak it. And I also think Ghana, like, I haven't been in 8 years. Ghana's changed significantly in the 8 years that I've been away. And so what I knew of Ghana before is not what I see today. And so, yeah, my advice would be come. You're always welcome. That's one thing about this beautiful country. There's a warmth of welcome from any and everyone. And just soak it all in. Ask questions. Connect with people on all levels and figure out, do I have a place here? Can I deal with this? Like, we were just talking about the light. The lights just went off in the house. As soon as Della came, she walked in, and James is like, you know, the lights went off, right? And I'm like, those things would annoy me so much years ago when I would come, because I'm like, why? It's never like this. Of course it's not like this in Sweden. And now, with maturity and understanding, I'm like, yeah, the lights are off. And we're going to sweat it out like I am right now. And then the lights will come on and all will be well.
That's it. Exactly. It's not forever.
Yeah. So I think it's about just coming in. And one of my friends was like, she hasn't been in many years, and she wanted to come with me because she's like, I don't really feel comfortable. Like, I want to go with someone I know. And she was like, are you dressing like they do there? Like, are you changing the way you dress? And I'm like, no, girl.
No, you definitely don't need to do that.
You don't.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of Ghanaians overseas that haven't been are also just concerned about either standing out, not fitting in. And I'm just like, no, you just come as you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Come as you are. I love
come
that.
as you are.
Yeah.
It's a perfect place to come as you are. Ghana is probably the most welcoming place I've ever visited.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is though. It is very homely, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
I love
it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much for talking to me
today. I really appreciate it.
Where can people find you? Especially, tell me the name of your brand again.
So on Instagram, it's at Edwina Kulegu, or Kulegu. And then the brand is Essentials by Edwina, so it's also at Essentials by Edwina, or you can go to essentialsbyedwina.com or edwinakulego.com.
Love it.
All connected.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. This was great.
I'll check out those lipsticks, trust me.
Oh, I'm bringing one down right now.
Please do. Please do. Guys, that is the end of today's interview. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed speaking to you so much.
Likewise.
I feel like I've learned a good amount of stuff. And I'm definitely checking out those lipsticks for sure. Please, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget to also like, comment and share this video. Until next time, we are out. Nutitfafa.
Bye.